G'day mate, all you YouTubers on your way to work and whatnot. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, watch out for them kangies, them sheep crossings, them cattle. Sometimes you gotta hit them with the road train, just let them go right under. They bounce around under the axles and whatnot. You just gotta keep going. Hammer, pedal to the metal, mate. So here we are out here at the Outback Farm, in Longmont, Colorado, Thought I'd give you an update of the old Frankenstein, right? Yeah, buddy, Mr. Goodtrav here. What do you think of my Australian accent? Oh God, I'm horrible at doing video updates, and then they're like, you have to have 1,000 subscribers in order to stream live. So what I'm doing is making a video. Here is Frank on the chassis. This is a Donor 99 Chrysler chassis. That's a Chrysler Magnum 360, fuel injected, air conditioning, cruise control, sway bars, front and rear, Dana axles, locker diffs. Those are 15 by 10 white spokes with 35 BFGs. Alrighty. Known as Frankenstein, Frankenford. A build from a truck that was sitting in the field. It sat in the field for 20 years. Since 1997, it's been sitting in the field, 22 years. We took it out, took Frank out, 1969 Ford F100. Took the body off and put it on a late model Dodge 2500 heavy duty chassis. Okay. Put a leveling kit on the front suspension. Put these badass mud flaps on it. Put Frank's original Ford bumper on there. What else have we done? I got ahead of myself. I was going to show you how I cut cabs and made them together and do this and that, but shoot. All of a sudden it's done. This has been 5 weeks. Took me 5 weeks. I dropped the floor pan 2 inches here, and then the floorboard goes forward 4 or 5 more inches into the engine bay. So you end up with 2 inches more headroom in this truck. You end up with about 4.5 inches more legroom. Tilt column, all that. I gotta finish patching the dash back together through here. Integrate the Chrysler gauges into it. This is the seat out of the truck, the donor truck, with a new seat cushion, lower cushion from Amazon. I'll walk around and give you a shot of that. Okay, back here you can kind of see where I mated the cabs together. I got some carpet to dial in. I gotta take the bed back off and kind of clean up my work in between the cab and the bed. And then let's see, I got a trim clip kit on back order. Who knew that these trucks are hard to get parts for? Okay. Let me go over here so I can get a more of an overall. Frank has the dented passenger fender, and the dent is right there, and that's the one piece of trim I'm missing. And I got all the other trim, but I need new clips. It kind of threw off I didn't know it was so bad. I mean, it's not bad. It gives it character. But it was a pretty good whack to the front fender there and the front bumper. And I I wanted to use everything. So the front bumper, I ended up having to kind of balance the bend between both sides, so you can kind of see it's a little out on the driver, a little out on the passenger, kind of like a banana. Then I had to just weld it on there. Actually, just welded the bumper on there. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do just to get things to line up. So I could have put a new bumper on it. I still might. A new bumper would look good. But it's character. As far as the swap goes, boy, it was very efficient. Took the old 69 truck. I had to pay $1,800 for the truck. The donor was valued at about $7,000. It was a pretty nice truck. And then the wheels were another about $1,800. So, you know, $10,000 in parts, and then I probably have 100 hours in labor so far, and I still got to put the dash back together. But I've driven it all week, 150 miles, and used a half a tank of gas. So you can see, yeah, I kind of painted the firewall there, and got the raw aluminum scoop on the 360 Magnum, fit right on there. I'm gonna do, you know, colored wires and paint the engine a Ford blue color. Probably like paint the injection lines a different color and the manifold silver, just kind of clean it up, make it look more nostalgic, fuel injected kind of engine in this truck. But the firewall, I just used some spray paint on. I didn't want it perfect. I mean, I could sand it perfect, but I want it to look more factory. So I paint it and then I'll weather it, you know, I'll wear it and get a little overspray on it, and it'll match the truck a lot better. So yeah, so the 360 ended up working out well for the swap, because in the Dodge truck it has about a 11-inch fan shroud, and so this is the Ford fan shroud with the Dodge radiator and the Dodge condenser, and there's an oil cooler in there, and we even used the Dodge horns. We used everything, you know, the air conditioning, the heating, all that. If you look down here, this is the Dodge firewall, but this is the Ford. Kind of looking under the truck. The cab mounts the Dodge, the donor, because you use the floorboard. But then, you know, here's the Ford and the Dodge. Then I welded some ammo boxes in there. And then lots of foaming and gluing and sealing. Used some different products. I hope they hold up well. One of them was by Liquid Nail called Fuse It. And like I used it as like a seam sealer after my welds, my spot welds. And so you can see the sway bars. These trucks are cool because you couldn't even add all these options to a truck like this without doing this frame swap. For instance, is just in the rear here. Well, look at this. You take the gas tank out of the back of the truck behind the cab. Look at the size of this tank. You can fit a body in that thing. So it's only used half a tank at 150 miles. That's because it's like a 72-gallon tank. But yeah, back here, look, you got the giant drum brakes. Those things are monster. Look how they fit the wheels. They fit with no gappage. The wheel weights had to be put on the very inside center of the wheel, because the brakes would knock them off. This is the smallest wheel you can put on this size axle, and it's all brakes. So this truck here comes with this brake valve on top of the axle and this rod. And this rod works as you put more weight on the truck and the suspension comes on. It increases the power to the rear brakes, to these rear drums. So the more you load it down, the more it brakes in the rear. Look at this giant cam muffler. This thing's huge, and it just makes it quiet. I've never had it. I was gonna cut it off and make it loud, but I've never had an old truck that's so quiet. I'm gonna start it for you. Here you can see a good example with the lighting of the Ford right along here, and then the Dodge floor pan. Okay, and then where I welded in my ammo boxes, and I used the ammo box to tie the mount back into the cab, but I also put some pretty big metal in the back of the cab and the front of the cab to hold it all together. I was more concerned about strength rather than prettiness. This is not my weld. This is that Fuse-It seam sealer, like a glue. I mean, it is rock hard, and it took paint well. And I'm going to show you that product over here. I'm also going to start the truck. All right. Isn't that cool? Look how quiet it is. Serpentine belt, power steering, air conditioning. It's like a 110 amp alternator. Shoot, man, everything. Well, you got your brake booster with the anti-lock brakes. We got our fuse panel here, our battery here. When you do the swap, you switch the position of the fuse panel and the battery. Well, look how it all fits in there. Also, the other thing that's amazing, when you bring the body down, you got to use the old Ford wipers. So there's the wiper motor. And the wiper motor fits in between the heater box and the thing. Okay. I'm going to carpet the inside kick panels and all that. Let's walk around back here so you can hear how quiet she is. She's just purring. I call this truck the Gentle Giant. It's just freaking amazing. Yeah. So anyways, it's about 10 grand in parts and probably 10 grand in labor. I'd love to build one for whoever's interested. You know, I found a truck the other day. It was like $9,500 for a donor. It was a 2010 or something. Leather interior, and shoot, it would be a pretty nice truck. They're pretty amazing. Driven it all week, taking it to baseball for the kid. And yeah. So comment and subscribe. I need 1,000 subscribers in order to do my live broadcasts again, where I can show you how I build these trucks. So tell your friends, family, and foe. Alrighty, mate? And then from the Outback, we'll do it again here. Right? Alright.